Audio Jungle.
To discuss. Hyderabad currently lies in 101, and we are now trying to aim towards shifting to that particular kind of thing. Though Hyderabad is one of the livable city, but still means like as when we were talking about the Delhi last 20 years means I was in school that time. People started to talk about the CNG implementation in Delhi, and since then it's almost more than 25-30 years now. Delhi is still like that. And I think this is the right time. And I must congratulate to the Telangana government and all the departments here to arrange this, that we have collectively started discussing this so that we are not going towards Delhi kind of situation. So what is it? Here, when we compare to the annual deaths, 7.9 million deaths just because of this pollution. And in the cities, Kolkata is 31,000 deaths. Delhi, 11,964 deaths. With this, if I see in Hyderabad, 1,597 deaths are already happening because of the attributed to the air pollution. And that is where we need to really think about to reduce the air pollution. And where we are, the where and coming to the regular pollution is 23% of the state's energy sector, accounting to 13.18 metric ton of carbon dioxide emissions. And that is where the contribution is, and the urgency and opportunity lies here, where when I forecast the air quality, majority of districts fall in the 30 to 60 microgram per meter cube range, and the central Hyderabad, where the central Telangana, where the Hyderabad lies, it is more 60 to 90, and it is moving up. So by 2030, where it will be, that is the question. I don't discuss this because Kritika ji and many of the speakers have already discussed about this. So the glance into the future, the Hyderabad by 2018, where the central points are 50 to 100, and this northeastern corridor, which we all know that the business districts, that is actually putting to 50 to 100. Whereas by 2030, the emission levels will look like this. And that is where we need to really plan now because of this expansion of high emission grids are there. Increased intensity across peripheral and growth areas, high emission zones remain concentrated. So this is the study. This is what Hyderabad is going to be by 2030. And that is the reason we need to really start working from here. And with this, the, with this, the 10,000 tons per year emission by 2030, it is going to have, and then mostly transport and the industry that is going to have this. So without intervention, total PM 2.5 emissions rise sharply by 2030. And with this data, I think we need to really seriously start working on this. As all the speakers discussed today, those all points we need to really yeah. So we at ASCI, we did the study on the two-wheelers and medium and heavy commercial vehicles in the state contribute to three-quarters of the pollution load, followed by four-wheelers, over 20% of the air pollution. And this is what the highlights the need for Telangana state to focus on its climate action plans and targets to prioritize interventions to effectively curb emissions. So one of the is electric vehicles. Whereas, if we see the data in last 10 years, vehicle stock nearly doubled from 7 million to 15.4 million. And that is what the growth rate is. That is what the growth rate is. And this rate, we need to identify how we need to identify with certain kind of, because what are the drivers? We need to understand the drivers of this particular kind of vehicle growth. What are the components of this particular vehicle growth? Telangana government is already doing the Telangana Mobility Cluster initiative aim to reduce all these things with the manufacturing hub, accelerate electric vehicle electrification, charging infrastructure and all. And what are those drivers? Those drivers are vehicle technology, as we know, travel demand, modal share, urban farm and operations. So I think when we are working on the urban growth, the growth corridors and all, we need to really put all these particular kind of items as the priority items, and then work on designing the entire urban planning, which we are working as the Deputy Chief Minister has already mentioned. So replace tailpipe emissions, focus on high usage urban fleets, we all know, strengthening the public transportation demand and operations management and promoting walking and cycling unit, where this is the Telangana EV adoption from 4.2% to 7.55% within 2 years. In just 2 years, 4.2 to 7.55% with whatever the policies we have adopted that is being shown, that is being recorded. And what are the strengths? The presence of EV manufacturers, component suppliers and startups, strong R&D, early pilots across public, private and depot-based charging, scope to scale strategically in high demand urban locations, state EV vision and mobility initiatives. In all these things, EV and ESS policy is there, 100% road tax and registration exemption, fleet electrification, accelerating EV charging deployment and electric tractor pilot with capex benefits and opex benefits. That is what it is driving the total cost of ownership. Where now the real question are EVs are clean. So EVs are clean. I mean to say that if I compare with all the gasoline fuels, diesel biofuels and all, with battery EV and battery EV, it is 52 gram per kilometer. So this slide suggests that EVs are, yes, EVs are clean, but are EVs are sufficient to reduce the air pollution? No, EVs are not sufficient to reduce the air pollution of the city. The modal shift and all other points which I have mentioned, along with all those particular kind of efforts and the framework, then the EVs are beneficial and EVs are sufficient. So we need to really work on this modal shift, shifting tips from car to bus and then on moving people. So it is very important that moving people, not vehicles, is the most efficient way to cut emissions. And moving people is by the public transport system, encourage the public transport system, encourage the rapid non-motor transport system, because along with the ORR system, there are several corridors where the government of Telangana is already promoting the cycling tracks and high quality public transport, strong NMT, safe footpaths, protected cycle tracks, seamless first last mile access. All these things are very, very important, become very, very
వారు వెహిక్యులర్ ఎమిషన్స్ అనే అంశం మీద మాట్లాడబోతున్నారు. రిడ్యూసింగ్ ఆన్ రోడ్ ఎమిషన్స్ టువర్డ్స్ నెట్ జీరో. తర్వాత నేను రిక్వెస్ట్ కృతికా మ్యామ్